Everybody, welcome to Shakatrucker.com. I'm going to make videos. They're going to be fragmented. They're going to be multiple topics. But most of them are designed to let you know what my wife Kelly and I are going through when we decided to go out on the road. This is the welcome video, and I figured I should explain why we chose what we chose to go out on the road. I'll put my shoes on as we speak. Kelly and I reached a point in life where, through the grace of God and my son, we're allowed to choose what we get to do for the next, 8, 10, maybe a dozen years. And one of the things we wanted to do as a childhood dream was to drive big rigs. Always wanted to do it when I was a kid. Saw the movie Convoy, fell in love with back in the 70s. Well, we started looking into it, and to get a Class A license, pretty expensive, especially if you don't have access to a truck or trailer. It can cost anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500 to go get your license. Let me adjust the camera for a second. Trying to drink my coffee. So, what we did is we looked into all the aspects of it. Class A license lets you drive a tractor trailer. A lot of places you can go out and get your license, and companies like Swift, CR England, Prime, Inc., they'll pay for your schooling. And then you got to drive for them for a year. 12-month contract. They'll pay for your schooling, you get your license, you're good to go. But you're going to drive for them at whatever price they pay you per mile for 12 months to pay off the schooling. After that, you're good to go. You can leave the company, go to a different company, make more money. Prices range, I've seen prices range anywhere from 23 cents a mile all the way up to 40-something cents a mile. Most people start in the 20s, maybe the 30s, from what I've heard. I'm only going to tell you what I heard. I'm not here to educate you. I'm just telling you what I heard through my life. So we looked into it, and then we saw this truck driving down the road. The truck is a Freightliner. It's got a gigantic sleeper on it, and it's got a 22-foot box on the back. Looked pretty appealing. No trailer to deal with. We looked into it. You only need a Class B license, not a Class A. Class B is a lot easier to get. My wife and I both paid $6 each to take the written test for the Class B. Failed it the first time because we didn't study at all. Went back 7 days later, passed the test. Test consisted of a knowledge base and a separate section for air brakes. Study hard. Download the manual from your state's Department of Motor Vehicle site or Department of Revenue, wherever they post it, and study the hell out of it. Don't take it as a joke. I'll explain that later in life. So we ended up about $12 invested in getting our permits. We held our permit for 2 weeks, and then we went and borrowed/rented a very large truck. You can do this. Go rent a U-Haul or a Ryder truck, the biggest one you can get your hands on. Biggest one you can get your hands on. And go practice. Go to an empty parking lot, put up cones, practice backing up, all that stuff. He's a good boy. Go let him. Practice backing up. And most people can square their turns, get around stuff, not hit stuff. But practice, practice, practice. Second, I recommend you go rent or borrow or make friends with a gravel pit company and rent or borrow or practice using a dump truck. Dump trucks are relatively short. Our Freightliner we drive now, 22-foot box, another 22-foot front end on it, ballpark figure. So we're running just under 50 feet of rig. Go use a dump truck. You can do it, you can borrow it, all that stuff. Second of all, we paid $200 each to go down to a company here in East Tennessee. It's in Crossville. And we talked to him and said, hey, all we want you to do is test us. If we fail, we lose our $200 each. If we pass, we get our license. We found somebody we were gonna drive for. They took us out a few times test driving. We felt comfortable. We practiced. We went down. It's about a 4-hour test. We passed our test. Now we are Class B commercial driver's license drivers. It's good money. It's called expedite driving. In the over-the-road trucking industry, there are two types of drivers. One is an OTR. Well, there are both OTR drivers. OTR stands for over the road. One of them is going to be a single, and the other is going to be a team. If you're a single driver, you'll drive for 11 hours a day, and then you have to park for a minimum of 10. Period. You'll learn all that down the road when you get your license. Now, expedite driving or team driving is different. You pick up a load, and the wheels don't stop, per se, till you deliver. Yeah, they're going to stop for fueling and mandatory 30-minute breaks. If you've made up extra time, you get to take a nap, you get to go shopping, whatever you need to do. But for the most part, expedite driving is just that. Get it there as fast as you can. You'll be given a deadline to get there. The company we've worked for says, all right, you are going to drive 1,600 miles, and we're going to budget you 45 miles an hour. Well, if I average 60 miles an hour, you can do the math at home. Take 1,600 divided by 45, and that's how many hours they allow for you to get it there. Now take 1,600 and divide it by 60, and that will be what you get it there in. The difference in hours are yours. You can do whatever you need to do. And sometimes you get longer. Say, for instance, we have a 1,600 mile load, and we get there Saturday. We get to the location Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. What if the company's closed and doesn't open till Monday? That information will be on your list. So you get literally a day and a half, 2 days on top of whatever time you earned by going faster than 45 miles an hour. Expedite driving is totally different than single cab driving. When I drive, I drive. When my shift is over, I go to bed because my wife's going to get in the seat. She's going to drive her shift. And we do that for however long it takes to get there. If it's a short run, one driver gets to drive it. If it's a medium size, if it's a 500-mile run, you can do 500 in a day. If it's 1,000 miles, you can't do 1,000 miles, so you got to split that up between two people. If it's 1,600, 2,400, there could be 5 shifts of driving. Go, 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 go. Shakatrucker, we're going to talk about everything Kelly and I learned. We hated it the first week. Hated it a little less the second week. Third week, wasn't too bad. The reason is because we learned, and I want to post what we learned in different videos on Shakatrucker.com. Shakatrucker.com, or not .com, I'm sorry. Shakatrucker YouTube and Shakatrucker Facebook page is just going to be what Kelly and I learned from other truckers, stuff we figured out, and watching YouTube. That's what we're going to do. It's a lot of fun if you make it fun. It's miserable if you want it to be miserable. If I and Kelly were, I would say 19 or 20 years old, 21 years old, and we started doing this back then, we would be retired twice by now. The money can be very good if you want it to be. Expedite trucking, for the most part, is going to start you out at 50 cents a mile. On average, 50 cents a mile. On average, 20 cents a mile deadhead. There's a lot of trucking companies that do not pay you deadhead. That means this: you drove to a location, you dropped your load off, you headed over to a truck stop to wait for your next load. Take a shower, do your laundry, get something to eat, whatever it is, and you're waiting there for a call or a dispatch on a computer to say, hey, we have another load for you. Do you want it, yes or no? And we're going to go through that in another video. Then you either accept or deny the load. If you accept the load, you got to go pick it up. That load could be 100 miles away. Well, some companies don't pay you to drive that 100 miles to go pick it up. That is a deadhead run. You're empty and you're going to go pick up a load. Our company pays us. So on average, Expedite Trucking at the least is going to pay you 50 cents a mile on average to 20 cents a mile deadhead. Now, a lot of these companies call it a 40-60 split. You get to see how much this load pays the owner of the truck. Many owners of the truck will say, what do you want? Do you want 40% of the load? And you don't pay for anything else. No fuel cost, no tolls, anything related to getting you there. Not repairs on the truck, just fuel and fuel and tolls. Now, that's called the 60% split. And you can negotiate with the owners and say, hey, I want to pay the 60% because there are times, and you might make a lot more on the 60% side on some runs and not make more on some other runs. That's for you to figure out and negotiate with your owner. So, we have a person who owns the truck. We are a 1099 employee, which means we are not an hourly employee. We have a 1099 tax form that we fill out with the federal government. That's how we do our taxes. And Kelly and I are OTR drivers. And we get to see amazing stuff. So I hope you stick with us on YouTube. My name is Todd. My wife's name's Kelly. And we're going to start posting videos as of today. I'm redoing some videos. I made some videos, tested them out with close friends on my Facebook page. And now we're going to start posting them. So stick with us. Shakatrucker YouTube channel. Aloha.